Well, welcome everybody to the Family Biz Show. I am your host, Michael Columbus with Family Wealth and Legacy in Rochester, New York. And today I have my very favorite special guest, James Hughes, Jay Hughes, who without Jay's writing, this podcast wouldn't exist. I wouldn't have I would not have been as curious about families and business and family wealth if it wasn't for having read Family Wealth, Keeping It in the Family so many years ago. So welcome, Jay. Thank you.
Michael, this is a fun opportunity. Thank you for inviting me.
So today, before we jump into today, one of the things for people that don't know you, and because it is, every podcast stands alone, tell us your background about how you started working with families. I just want to remind people so that they understand your connection and how this came about.
Michael, I was a young lawyer in 1967. I'm not going to go into a long bio, I promise, but and found myself in a law firm where my dad was the senior partner, one of them, and there were three departments. There was the commercial department, the litigation department, and the trust and estates department. Since there was already nepotism by my joining that firm, and he ran the commercial department, I'd done litigation. I didn't like it. So I went in the trust and estates department and realized 6 months in that I probably would have left the law, but for the fact that the trust and estates department meant I had my own clients 6 months into my profession, individuals and families. I never looked back.
Nice. And then there was a point in your career, if I remember correctly, where you spent an awful lot more time coaching families through the years. And what was that transition like? Why did you make that transition?
Our dear friend, Matt Wesley, wrote a wonderful paper called Culture Eats Structure for Breakfast. Most young lawyers, Michael, in the first 10, 15 years of their careers in the trust and estates, or what we now call a private client department, are learning their trade, and they do a lot of technical work, what we call structural work. I did that. I learned my lessons, but I wasn't very interested in it. And to be clearer and clearer to me, that was that the culture question was a family seeking to flourish. Was it enhancing the individual journeys of happiness of its members? Were all the boats rising? Whatever the way we want to think about it, I thought this is really interesting. Whereas the technical side really didn't interest me at all. So I found myself further and further out of the profession. Not because I didn't love being a lawyer. I did. I'm a sixth-generation lawyer in my family. But what I found was that more and more, instead of individual client or maybe a couple, whole families were reaching out to me. 20 people, 40 people, 50 people, sometimes 200 people even. And I thought this systems work is really interesting. How do you develop a system that supports 40 people's lives, not financially, but emotionally? How do you grow their human and intellectual self, their social capacity, their spiritual capacity? So I just found myself one day discovering that as a lawyer in New York State, where you are, I couldn't represent a family. I only could represent a person and then get waivers. Again, I don't want to get into the detail.
Sure, right.
But I discovered that day that the law left me. Because the law didn't give me what my clients wanted from me. So I thought, well, okay, I love this work. I love the idea of a flourishing family being the first building block of a flourishing society, as Aristotle said 2,400 years ago. I thought I'm going to do that. So I still have my law license. I just don't practice law and haven't for a long time. I like being a lawyer from the standpoint of trying to help grow flourishing communities, which I think is lawyer's job. So in a nutshell, I found myself one day with the law leaving me.